manners on the go?
So I think that we have rice. What they told me would be available today is braised rice and jollof rice. And I think we could do with that.
Okay.
I didn't prepare any mussel food for today. I didn't order for any mussel food for today. All right, thank you. Chef Tony, thank you. We're quite done with that and we'll be waiting for the main meal now. So before that meal comes, is there any, or are there any do's and don'ts that we want to talk about at the table? What should you do? We've mentioned that you can speak or you can make conversations at the dining table, but don't talk with food in your mouth.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're talking, what should you do with your cutlery? I mean, can I?
No, of course you can't do that. No.
Okay.
Some people, you get to see that even when they are eating and they're trying to maybe describe something, you get to see they're using their fork or their knife. And by the way, I'm sure they would remember that we don't say feck. What we say is fork. So they get to use, maybe they take that knife and they're like, oh yes, when it was somewhere in Lekki, and then when we went to the Victoria Island, no, you don't do things like that.
Okay, so make sure that
you're
not holding any cutlery. You can use your hands while talking.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chef Tony.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I know you can actually put plates on plates too.
Wow.
But this is quite a lot. So, okay. So now we have the main meal.
Wow.
Now, usually, you know, while growing up, we were taught finish your food before you eat your meat, your chicken, or your fish. Now, as adults, it doesn't work for us that way. So the rule is, if you know you don't want to begin, because right now I can see that my rice is facing me and yours the other way around. So I just turn my plate once to where I want to begin from.
Okay.
So I want to begin from my fish. So I have the fish right in front of me. Now for some people, they feel that, okay, so I have the fish in front of me, then I can be using the knife to, no, it doesn't work that way. You start from where you are, you start eating, and then of course you can actually work your way through. So the knife will always be on your right.
Absolutely.
And then your fork on your left.
Okay.
Now, there's a particular religion in Nigeria that says that you cannot, they don't, you know, it's a religious practice that they don't eat with their left. So what do people like that do? Now basically what they can do is that, like, if they want to cut, they have to use the right hand for their knife and then cut. So you have something like this. Okay. Now some people also have the culture of saying a prayer before they eat. Now the prayer said at the table is meant to be short, brief,
not a revival.
Exactly.
We can start with praise.
Short, brief, and straight to the point. And then you do not know if your dining partner actually wants to say a prayer or not. He or she may not be someone who holds prayer in high esteem like you do. So in that, you do not have to say, oh, shall we pray? Can we pray? You don't have to say that, except all of you are of same denomination, same belief, and same faith. Otherwise, you say your own short prayer within you and not, having drama all around you. So I was saying that if you belong to that religion that says you cannot eat with your left. So after I have cut my fish with my right, I drop my knife and then
I could use.
Yes, so
you're right.
Switch the cutlery, that's switch the fork, and then you put this into your mouth.
I'd like to start with my rice. So I think it's just hardwiring from childhood that I take my protein after my meal. So that's what I'm going to do. But this is a lot of food, and by all means, I could ask for a takeout if I've paid for the meal, but I wouldn't ask for a takeout if I've gone to a business lunch that I am not the host, or if I've gone to a wedding ceremony. I wouldn't ask for a takeout in those instances. But if it's something that I've asked for and I've paid for, it's okay, to ask for takeout at the end of the meal. So here we go, fork and knife, and hold your fork this way.
Now, if for instance the business lunch is held in your house, or it might not be a business lunch, it could just be, okay, if I'm inviting you over for dinner in my house with my family and stuff like that, once you have served me the meal, I can actually tell if I can finish the meal or not.
Okay.
So once the meal comes to me, if it's something I can finish, and I recall saying earlier that sometimes you never can tell if the food tastes nice or not. So you could ask them, for another plate where you can remove the one that that you cannot eat. And a lot of women are doing all the fit farm stuff these days, so they may not be able to eat as much food as they would love to eat. So you ask for another plate and ask them to take, just take out the one that you may not be able to eat.
I mean, it wouldn't be nice for you to waste food in a host's house.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, if you just, whilst we're doing this, I actually told them to give us the special wine, that they have for today, and it's red. But then I pretend it's white, but I think we'll just have to make do with that red wine because that's the special for the day.
Okay.
So let me back on.
Is it okay? I know that. So is it non-alcoholic drink or it's a proper red wine?
I think it's a non-alcoholic drink. It's a non-alcoholic drink. So I think we should call it a beverage, non-alcoholic beverage. Or can I call it wine?
It's a drink, non-alcoholic drink.
Non-alcoholic
so it could be
drink.
Wine, it could be beverage, it could be anything, but non-alcoholic drink.
Thank you, Chef Tony.
Now, I also know that it is compliment to the chef.
Okay.
If you decide to ask for more.
Interesting.
Yes. So it's not a matter of like they say in our own part of the world, they think that that means that you're a glutton or something. No. If you've tested the meal and you want more, if it's a buffet and decide to go for another one, it is compliment to the chef. Yes.
I know that there's a way you could put your cutlery down to indicate that you're still eating, especially if you have to excuse yourself from the table or anything that you have to do at the table. There's something we call a resting position. In that position, your fork and knife you just pretend that your plate is a big clock, a big wall clock. So your knife will be resting at number 4, and your fork will be resting at number 8. So when you have them together that way on your plate, even your server knows that this means it's a resting position and you're still coming back to your meal. If you tell us, what if I'm done with the meal? What's the placement of my cutlery?
So I have my fork, and then these are the prongs.
Yes.
So I have it the other way around, this way, and then I have my knife this way.
Okay.
So even if I have a big chunk of meal or a big chunk of chicken on my plate like I have right now, and I still have the salad and all of those things, once the waiter comes or the chef comes and sees my cutlery this way, he knows I'm done.
You're done
eating. And then they clear
pack it up.
the meal away.
Okay.
But if I have it this way, they have no rights to clear the plates.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's
Absolutely.
it. So you'd observe that we still have the side plates here. Now, I like to refer to the side plates as the extracurricular activity plates. So that's a place where you put all unwanted guests. For instance, I have the bone from my fish. I put it right into the side plate. Now, if for instance, I also have bones in my mouth, maybe while I was eating the fish or something, and then I observe that I have bones in my mouth. The rule is the cutlery that you use in taking the meal into your mouth excuse me, it's the same cutlery you use in bringing out the bone from your mouth, and then you put in the side plate. So it's not dropping the cutlery and then using my fingers to remove. No, you don't.
What do you feel about just stylishly doing it into your napkin, you know, without anyone knowing that you're doing it?
Well, I really do not think that's nice enough. Yes, I know that you put the cutlery into your mouth, you bring it out, and then you put it back there.
Absolutely. And then a lot of the time the fish should come with a fish fork. And that fork is done in such a way that you can actually use it to remove get the bone out of your mouth.
That's true.
Let me quickly talk about this napkin. You know, it's just sitting there on our lap. And what it's generally used for is to, you know, clean your mouth nicely. It's not to dab your face. You know, just clean your mouth nicely and return it to your lap. If you stand up while eating, make sure that you tell the others at the table to excuse you, that you know, but you don't need to say that like to go to the bathroom. Don't mention that. No. You could just say, excuse me, or a moment, please. And what you should do is that you should put your napkin neatly on the left side of your plate. Now, there are two schools of thoughts. Some people say leave it on your chair. Some people say leave it on the left part of your table. I am pro leave it on the left side of your table because I feel the napkin may be dirty at some point. Maybe there's oil on it, and then putting it on your chair can make it unsightly, but it is not out of place to fold it neatly and put it on your chair.
Okay,
another thing I'd like to ask Ify, maybe I should ask you, what if the meal I've asked for today is amala and draw soup? Okay, that popular ewedu. I mean, some of you would know what amala and ewedu is. Should my napkin still be sitting on my lap in that instance?
No, at this point, your napkin cannot be on your laps. Rather, you tuck it into your shirt. Okay. Yes, that's because, you know, ewedu, ogbono, okra, it's kind of like slimy.
Slimy.
Yes, exactly. And it's possible that while eating, you may have some of the soup stain your outfit, which you do not want. So you have to have the napkin tucked into your shirt. Now, talking about placing the napkin on your table, I am pro that the napkin should be on your chair. Okay. That's because, you know, sometimes, like if you're in an event and you want to keep a seat for someone, you place your bag or you place something on the chair. But like you said, you could do either one. But I would rather prefer to place my napkin on my chair. It's good for us to know all of these rules so that, you know, when we find ourselves in all of these situations, we know exactly how to behave.
So Ify, I think I'm ready for the dessert. I am a sweet tooth, so I can't wait to bite into something that has sugar in it. What do you think? I mean, this is a full meal, and yes, I will do a takeout. I think it's allowed.
Since you paid for the meal, so yes, you can actually have a takeout.
Have a takeout. Thank you, Tony.
I came across something that Ronald Reagan said. That's a one-time American president. He said, you can tell a lot about a fellow's character by his way of eating.
Ah, tell me about it.
And I totally agree with him. Thank you. I totally agree with him.
Chef Tony?
Yes. So you get to see the way a lot of people eat without decorum. They're eaten with their fingers. They have ignored the set table. They are eating like they haven't eaten in the last, you know, couple of weeks and all of those things. And then you get to see the way they open their mouth to put everything into their mouth. No. I totally agree with him that you can actually tell a lot about a fellow's character by his way of eating. And then for a lot of people, you know, we have gone through all the dinnerwares, the glasswares, the silverwares. Not everyone actually knows this. And so for you to mind your manners and for you to also be a professional or an executive, it is important that you must be able to identify your glasswares, your silverwares, and also your dinnerwares. So we have the fork and then we have the knife in front of us. And I can see that, Tosin, you're using your spoon. That's because you're taking...
I'm taking the ice cream.
The ice cream,
I think I'm going to take out the cake. It's such a huge meal, and you know, I don't have to finish it.
No, you
I
don't
am
have
spending my money. Okay. So remember that your dessert fork and knife would always be at the top. So pick whichever you need. I'm using the dessert spoon. How do you recognize it? It's a little smaller than a teaspoon, and that's your dessert spoon. And because I am treating myself to this strawberry and vanilla ice cream, then I'll use the spoon.
So what if I'm on a diet and I don't want to take the desserts? What happens?
Well, I think it's okay to, first of all, you don't need to discuss your dietary needs at the table. I mean, you could do that off the table,
Absolutely correct.
Just before the meals. It's okay to let the host know, but it won't be all right for you to be silent about it and then they bring it to your front and then you reject it. So let them know your dietary needs before you visit or before you are the guest at the table. That's my answer to that. What do you feel, Ify?
You answered correctly. Yes, so the table is not where you want to discuss any health things, any health issues or whatever. No. After the meal, you can have all of those conversations, but at the table, you don't have such conversations.
Fantastic. Ify, I think we've had a very productive time together today. I'm not sure I can finish this anymore. I mean, I've had a huge meal already. Like I said, I can take out.
All right, so what are the do's and don'ts at the table that we might just want to tell our viewers?
Yes, we could just summarize that. Please don't use your toothpick at the table. Never use your toothpick at the table.
I have seen some women do something like this.
Absolutely wrong. You don't do this. Please excuse yourself, go to the bathroom or a private place and pick your teeth with reckless abandon. But please not at the dining table. So that's one thing you shouldn't do. Another thing you shouldn't do at the dining table is that there shouldn't be any other thing at the table. Not your purse, not your bag, not a cell phone, not a book. The dining table would be for the silverwares and the glasswares. So if you bring a bag, there are 2 things you can do, or maybe 3. Some restaurants will have a hook that you can hang your bag on. You could do that. You find that hook around the table. If that is absent, you can please put your bag behind you. Okay, but no bag should be on the table. Some people say you can put your bags on the floor, but I've had women argue with me that how would I put my designer bag on the floor? So what you can do is you should put it behind you. Absolutely nothing goes
Or if it has a long strap,
if it has a long strap,
you can hang it on the chair that you're sitting.
Yes. I mean, just be security conscious when you do that. I think we've had a productive time today, Ify. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on. I'm hoping that in another episode we can talk more about the do's and the don'ts. I mean, there are several of them that we can talk about. So please watch this space, everyone, whilst we bring this to you another time. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope we didn't bore you. I trust we didn't bore you. Thank you. See you soon and goodbye.
Manners on the go.